can't wait to show you how to make it. This is a longer rosemary. This is kind of like the kind you would use on your barbecue pit, and you'd pull the leaves off, or you might use some of the wood to give it that nice flavor. This is an artificial type like that, and it's got the longer stems. So that's going to work great for our perimeter and have a really natural vibe. So I'm going to grab my wire cutters, and you're going to cut these as long as they will go. Now this one is too thick. If I leave it like this, that's too many pieces. We're going to cut that off. We want them all to be kind of smaller pieces because this wreath isn't all the way around. It's 360 design, so we want to take them all the way. And I'm just going to cut each one of these off here too. And you're doing this so you're prepping your bush so it's really easy to work with. We can leave a couple clusters, but we want to have a nice strong stem. And you're going to grab your Spanish moss because we're going to need it too right now. And we're going to just work our way around the perimeter with these. And we're just going to start off working our way around. I'm generally going to go clockwise, and you're not going to go all the way down to the edge. You see I'm kind of going in that 3/4 spot. You guys, if you love these type of wreath designs, we would love to have you in our design school where weekly we come out with new tutorials, and you get a weekly live with me, answering your questions, chatting about life. We just love to be in there talking about what's going on in our lives and just have a friendship in the wreathing community. We've got people in there who are sellers, others who just love to just create and make beautiful pieces for their home. We've got every level in the group, and I adore that because it's fun to have the more advanced students posting their work and motivating all of us to keep on creating and making beautiful things. And then we welcome the beginners because the beginners are exactly where we used to be when we started. So all of that is just a treasure. So I love to be live with them each week. You guys see that right there with some glue? I just covered it with moss. So we're just working our way around. And remember, I'm in the 3/4 zone. You can go further out. We're working with a 14-inch wreath base. You can go further out, but then you just need more material. So you'll have to plan on getting a couple more bushes. But this is our perimeter, and we want it kind of tight to, I like it kind of tight to my garland we're going to be putting in the middle. So we're just working around. And if you don't have quite as much experience, like my 26 years, you might want to go ahead and put them in without gluing them first, then come back and glue it. I'm a little more confident in my placement just because I've done it thousands and thousands of times. This would be a gorgeous just wreath by itself. This rosemary is beautiful. Okay, that's looking amazing. Now the next thing we want to do is we're going to hold these off for a little bit. We've still got that much left, but you want to grab your gypso. That's the longer gypso. It's a filler. It's actually a filler bush, and we're going to take and trim it down to where each stem is nice and neat. So we're going to take and break these off and trim them nice and neat. Just take and tear this apart, and then once you do that, you can take and trim off the ends. We got to have it nice and neat. And we just want 2-inch stems on here, not very long. Once you do that, you're going to come up with these beautiful pieces just like that. And then with all of these neat trim pieces, we're going to work around and go right in between that rosemary. So one of the neat things about this trend with the baby's breath is that it is a little unruly. So you want to make sure you're staying in your clockwise design. So each one of these comes in, we're going to stay in our clockwise design. So I'm going to put this in a little bit more towards the center and work my way around. And we're going to try to go in between either each one or every other one. We'll see if we have enough to do each one. I think we've got enough. And I just put a little glue and we're pushing it in. Be a little bit liberal on the glue because you want to make sure it's going to stay good. If the glue globs up on the base, then you're going to come back and definitely cover it with the moss. So already we've created this really pretty look of the dark green in the background and the light green on the foreground. That layering up is gorgeous, okay? Created some beautiful interest, and I'm working my way right around. You guys have to come get supplies from us. If you'll try our supplies from Police.com, I promise you'll be happy. I really try to have higher end pieces at reasonable prices. And if you join design school, you're going to get the next level teaching and assets right at your fingertips. So literally, you can always be inspired to create your next beautiful project. I did craft shows for a living, guys, which is unusual. A lot of people do craft shows on the side, but I did them for a living for 17 years. Some of that while teaching, and then the last 12 to 13 without teaching. I did take the leap of faith to do it for a living, traveled all over the country. I am thankful for all that experience, because I can pass it on to you. With my construction techniques, I had to have things that held up to travel to different cities. That I also know what sells well because I've sold a lot of these pieces. And because we sell now on our website different designs and styles, not every trend is a trend that's a keeper. So, you know, I cut out the BS for you and just deliver what you need. Okay, you can see how gorgeous this is already, right? This is stunning already. Now our next layer is our longer gypso that's a little more, it's a little bit different green. And we're gonna take and cut this down. It comes in long stems. You're gonna push these up. I've already pushed them up to make these cute little clusters. And we wanna cut these fairly short. I just trimmed them like this. But what you wanna do is work around now and make these, I would say, about 4-inch stems. So trim everybody down to shorter little stems. So they're all the same. So you can just kind of gather them like this. You know, okay, this one's a little longer. See, this one needs to be pushed. There we go. And this one needs to be pushed a little more. I think they're a little cuter pushed into one cluster, if you can. See, let's see this one. Yeah. Okay, once you do that, then just kind of stack them up where they're pretty close. Oh, they're so pretty. And trim those all to 4-inch stems. So these are all pretty similar. Now we're going to work around the perimeter, and I'm going to put one and skip one this time. So we'll put one in and we'll skip one. Okay. So these are going to go like a little bit thicker, but in between. Now we're going to be using that garland towards the middle. So put one, skip one. I'm going to go right behind my other greenery we had. We can always come back and put more, but we're going to start this way. The garland's going in the center, and it's our really tight pop of white. We're going to work this all around the perimeter. Now let's say you're watching this and you're like, I love what you got going. I tell you what, you could just stick with this and just double this recipe right now and don't buy the garland. You could do it just like this too. So that's the kind of tips I give you in design school also. Because every recipe has so many different varieties. Think about when you're cooking. You know, some people want more onions, some people want some cayenne pepper, some people want, you know, a little more flour, or they want it gluten-free. Now I'm going to tuck in some in between here just to make some of these clusters a little thicker, and I'm going to make sure that those form a triangle. Uh-oh, we're getting deep on the design. You can do it though. Try it. All right, beautiful. This is coming together so stinking pretty. We have barely gotten started and it's so pretty. Now grab your garland. The garland comes with these little attachment pieces that go on the bottom. You know, to hang it on things. We don't need that, but I do want to use this stem a little long to get her started. Now, the neat thing about this garland, she's on an incredible wire. I love that. So I'm going to utilize that to kind of bunch her up as we're putting it in. So we're going to pick a starting point, and we're going to start to put her in, go in the same direction. I'm going to just put her little wire here, and I want these to stay really tight to where everything else is gone so far. So the idea is we're going to run one on the outside and one on the inside. I want you to do a dry run and make sure it's going to fit. Oh my God, how pretty. I made this thinking you would use this for a wedding wreath, but nah, you could use it for yourself because it's so pretty. We're going to have enough to do 2 runs. So what we need to do is you can cut it or you can cable tie it. I think it's going to be a little easier to cut it, to control it. So I'm going to make like a little section here, and I'm going to leave myself a little bit of a stem here. And we're going to put a little glue on that. I'm going to bring the glue to it. Y'all, I don't use a glue gun. This is a bamboo stick coming into a, coming out of the glue pot. This is going to stay back a little because I'm going to have some on the inside. Now hit that with moss. This is so fun. All right, next little section. Let's do it. I got to cut it in the middle so I can have a little stem on each side. Let's go right here, and we'll just tuck this right in. Let me get a little glue on this one, and we're going to just make it like it's continuous. You can also take and cable tie it, like I said, but I think we'd be fighting a lot of cable ties in there. And then this one with a little wire end, put some glue on it. So we're going to go slow. Watch your glue strings. And this is kind of going a little bit more tighter to the florals because we're going to run another little bit inside, okay? Cut it in the middle so you leave a little stem on each side. Get the glue right to it. Don't use a glue gun, please. It's way hot. You're going to burn the tar out of yourself. Just stick with using your little electric skillet, and we're going to work it around. So if you've never tried a glue skillet, you need to. They're just wonderful. The glue is just hot enough to manipulate, but not so hard you burn. You can still burn yourself, guys. You have to be careful, but not so bad. Pull that up. That stays up here. Use that wire in that garland and manipulate it. Just cut this one into 2 sections. I don't have a bow planned for this one, but if you wanted to do a bow, you certainly could. Definitely leave a spot for a bow. Be totally fine. Here, oh my gosh, so pretty. I'm gonna put some glue there. I'm gonna put a little bit of moss to hold that one. Nice. Nice, nice. Okay, then our final piece is going right here. I'm gonna have a little bit of a holes slightly, but I'll start the next one there to go on the inside. So pick a side you want to go closer to. I think I'm going to go right here. And I got my glue, pushing it in. Okay, so now we're going to have a run around with another layer in the middle. And I think we could start it here and it'll be fine, but let's measure. We can always bring it more to the center. We've done a great job on the perimeter. So this is all I've got left. So you got to kind of space it out. Like if I start here, can we make it in the middle? We can, oh my God, so pretty. We can, I think we can. So let's just take, let me do the same technique of cutting it. I think that works better. Let's just cut this into little sections so we can kind of plan it out. It's kind of like that into little sections here. Let's see how it has a little gap there. We'll cut that one and we'll leave that. Here's all the sections. We have 3. Well, let's take this little gapper piece, put it right here. And don't freak out too much if you have a little bit of a hole, because we can fill it in when we layer the next piece on. Oh my gosh, so pretty, guys. Okay, push that back just a little bit. Now we're gonna work inside here. So we have 3 of these. So if you will use the concept, if I put these kind of a little bit here, and a little bit here, and then a little bit here, there may be a couple of little holes, but you're not going to notice them, okay? So let's start with this one up in that front. I just think this is fun because it goes to the really solid white in the middle and more wispy on the sides. Push it in. Use that wire. There you go. Now scrunch that, oh, that's cute, together. So we kind of working on this line as we go to the next level. Okay, great. Now our next piece is going to go in here. Pull those blooms up, manipulate that wire, and we're going right here. Okay? It's the same thing. Just pull the blooms out of your way. Remember how I said a little bit of a triangle shape. So you get, basically it's helping you get a good coverage, even when you don't have exactly enough to get all the way around. Okay, let's go. So we went one there, one here, and there, oh my God, then our third one's going here. This looks good. All right, now cutting it into the smaller pieces did give us a lot more control. So I'm gonna definitely recommend that rather than spinning it around like I thought we would do. I think that worked better. And then just push this in. Now you got a couple of little sections that maybe have a little bit less, like even going out to the perimeter, and you don't worry about that right now, because what we're about to do is, see, like here, I'm going to crisscross these blooms a little. They separate a little, just crisscross. It'll keep them where they look like they've grown together. Don't go crazy. You see how that works? Aha! So pretty. Now, she's looking amazing. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go through and I'm going to gently pull up any of these other gypsos that we have going to the perimeter. And we still have a few extra. So what you want to do is find a hole. See, there's like a little hole here. So take, and you could even cut the pieces you have left into smaller pieces to get good coverage. Okay? Now come on in there. Come on in there. Just pop that, oh how pretty. Right there. Beautiful. So work my way around the perimeter again. And I'll take these little half pieces and put them tight to my other's baby spread. Oh, that was so good. All right, let's keep doing that. Then our last touch after this is we're going to add the a little bit more of the greenery. So keep this to the center. This stays in the center because the greenery holes that we're going to come around and fill are going to be on the outside. Okay, so you got to make sure you keep this in the middle. One more piece here. I'm going to separate. So hold a little bit of that off because you are going to have a couple of little gaps when you work with the garland. So not only can this be for a wedding, guys, but you can use this same recipe for different seasons and just play with it because it's so pretty. This one right here. Just remember, once you start that traffic flow, the direction, you stick with it. Take a look and look beyond the surface and don't look at all the pretty white. Look at the green in the background and look for holes. We've got about 6 or 8 pieces left of this and we're gonna go in behind. Remember, this goes behind, not the foreground. And we're just gonna keep watching that shape. And you're gonna help kind of full up and finish out the shape. If it's a little bit overwhelming to look at the whole thing, just look at one section at a time. I'm gonna go around, I see a little bit of a hole on this side, fill that in. So I'm looking at the perimeter, and you might wanna go hang it up and just kind of be like, okay, this is so full and lush. I cannot wait to take pictures of this. This is exactly what the brides are wanting in their weddings right now. So I'm sure it would go so quick for that. But this is just a stunning, beautiful wreath and a gorgeous recipe you can use anytime, y'all. Okay, you're gonna have to share it with me when you try yours. It's luscious. Okay, Bloomerinos, if you haven't liked, subscribed, and followed, you gotta do it. Bye, guys. I'll see you next time.